Hello, everyone. Welcome to MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Chase, Pastor. Well,
and my name is Jerry.
And we are here to talk Week 8 of the NFL schedule. Carolina Panthers taking on the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. And today we have a special co-host with us, my son Chase. Say hello to everyone, Chase.
Hello, my name is Chase. I am 5 years old, and I'm about to be 6. My birthday's November 8th, everybody.
That's good. Good. And who's your favorite football team?
My favorite football team is actually the Panthers. Kind of like the Falcons too, though.
You like the Falcons too? Okay, well, we're playing the Falcons. Do you think the Panthers are going to beat the Falcons?
No, I don't really know yet.
You don't know yet?
Yeah, because it's going to be a really hard fight for the Panthers.
Look into the camera. It's going to be a hard fight for the Panthers? Well, you're probably right about that.
Because the Panthers are having not that compliment this season.
They've not been that compliment. That's true.
And ask Chase, what is his favorite Panther player?
Who do you know? Do you have a favorite Panthers player?
Well, my favorite player is Daddy's favorite player too.
His favorite player is my favorite player.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Okay. Daddy's favorite player just got traded.
Really?
Yeah, that's who's on your jersey, Christian McCaffrey.
Ooh.
He got traded, yeah. Okay, so what do you think the score of the game is going to be?
Well, I think it's going to be a tie at first or something.
That's true.
But I think the Falcons are going to get the next point, and then the Panthers get after the Falcons point.
Oh, okay. What do you think the final score is going to be?
Well, I think it's going to be the final score might be 20 or 30.
20 or 30, okay. For
How
the
about
Panthers?
Don't exactly know yet.
You don't know yet? Okay. You're still doing some research?
Yeah, I'm still doing some research.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because I don't really know yet.
Okay. Well, I love you.
I love you. And today, welcome to Carolina MeowMix for the Panthers.
All right. Okay. Go on to bed. Love you.
Okay. Love you.
All right. We'll go ahead and look at some Panthers news now.
Hold on, Jerry.
Okay.
Let's just first I want to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the podcast recently. We are this close to our first goal of 1,000 subscribers. We're 3 away. So please like and subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on podcasts as well. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes. We'd appreciate it. We'll read it on the show if we get it. We do occasionally mention comments and things on YouTube on the show as well. So do us a favor. Give us a like and a subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Once we get to 1,000, Jerry and I have some cool stuff planned. So help us get there. We appreciate it. All right, Jerry. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I was a little buzzed last week, but it was too good of a game not to drink while watching it when they scored actual offensive points. So
hey, no, I didn't hear any complaints.
Starting off with the Panther news, Pat Elflein and Henry Anderson were placed on IR. Pat Elflein was out on Saturday. I believe he was moved to IR right before the game. To make up for those two placed on IR, they signed cornerback Tay Hayes and offensive tackle Larnell Coleman from the Dolphins practice squad to the active roster. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad to see Tay Hayes, on the roster. I don't know how many times he's been called up. He might be up for good now.
Yeah, I believe so. I think it's been 2 or 3 times now. So
yeah, I think you can only be called up 3 times before you pretty much have to stay on the active roster. So good to see there. I don't know much about Larnell Coleman, but good to have O-line depth. So obviously you're losing Elflein. I assume that Coleman probably plays some center.
I would assume center or guard, so like kind of that hybrid as well. He could be like a whole, chess piece that plays multiple position.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, apologies. I don't know a ton about him, so but we just lost Elflein. So that means that Bradley Bozeman will be the center moving forward, which is something that Jerry and I have been begging for since week 1. And boy, did he show out in his first game as the Panthers. Some say that that's the reason why the Panthers won 21-3. Some are saying
that. Who are some? Either way,
my 2-year-old child Logan, he said
I do think that the run game got a boost from Bradley Bozeman because he was blocking up the middle, and a lot of the runs that started up the middle, he was clearing out because of it. And looking at the PF grades from last week of week 5, it shows the top performer was on offense PJ Walker with a 94.9, which he played perfect for that game. He played within his means. He didn't force the balls. Hopefully he can continue that on. Number 2, Bradley Bozeman, 93.2, and his run blocking was 93.2. I mean, that's when you run more than you pass, that's really good.
Yeah, most of the time you win.
Yeah. Number 3, Chuba Hubbard had a good game. Not going to complain, 79.2. DJ Moore was 4th with a 77.3. And LaVisca Chenault, 73.3 on only 3 snaps. So I don't know if that hamstring is still kind of bothering him or not.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we get to see more from him this week. Just, looking at these top 5, I mean, Chuba and Dante Foreman.
Yeah.
Did we miss McCaffrey this week? We really didn't. I mean, they played amazing. They were great. They were good in the run game. They were good in the pass game. They were really good.
Yeah.
Good tandem.
Hopefully it'll keep up. I also think that the blocking was really, really good, and the scheme that they set up was really good. Because the first quarter and a half, they still weren't moving the ball that well. But eventually it started working. The play action was working, and it freed up a little bit when PJ was able to make some deeper passes to free up those, linemen and blockers, and able to get those running backs to the second level of the defense.
Yeah, I mean, and that's typically how the run game works, right? Is, you grind and grind and grind, pound and pound and pound, and eventually those holes start opening up and everything else starts opening up, and you win 21-3.
Yeah.
Just looking at real quick at the last 5 on the offense, you had Steven Sullivan with a 60, Austin Corbett and Brady Christensen both in the last 5 here with a 55.1 and a 43.3 for Brady. Is that the second week in a row Brady's been at the bottom?
I don't know, very bottom, but he's been down there in the bottom 5 quite often.
Not great. Raheem Blackshear on very little snaps, and then Shi Smith, 52.2. Not a good game for him.
No, and he was named starter. So maybe he'll show up better, but he's had his opportunities this year, or he hasn't shown up. I'd prefer to continue to see more of Terrace Marshall and LaVisca Chenault. At this point, I feel like Shi Smith hasn't been able to translate it from practice to game time.
Yeah, agreed. I was encouraged by what I saw from Terrace Marshall last week. A couple of really nice catches, and I think he only had 3 targets. So I'd like to see him more involved, get him 5 or 6 targets a game, and see what he can do. I mean, I think now is the time where we need to see what he can do, because he has been, talked about as trade bait. He's been talked about as potentially cutting after this season if he just doesn't work out. So, I mean, he needs it. And I think the Panthers, obviously the Panthers need it. They traded Robbie Anderson. We don't really have a true number 2 right now. It'd be amazing if he could develop into that.
Yeah, and Chenault still seems to have those lingering hamstring injuries.
Right.
Otherwise I would like to see him, but you don't want to force him out and keep aggravating those injuries. So
yeah, and I don't know that he's like a guy that you wanted your number 2. I think Chenault will be a really nice high-end number 3. So I hope that they can get those guys healthy and get them out there more. Yep. Looking at the defense, let's just go with the top 5 here. Xavier Woods with a 74.9. Shaq Thompson, a 71. Keith Taylor, 69.6 in third place there with, I mean, a decent amount of snaps for him too. So it's not a fluke.
Yeah.
He played a good game. Corey Littleton and then Justin Burris. So nice to see really 3 guys on this list that were not starters. We're not planning on, I mean, Corey Littleton, but not, planning on playing a ton of snaps, really showing up. Really good. Keith Taylor and Justin Burris especially.
All right, now looking at the bottom 5, we have C.J. Henderson with 57.2. Etor Gross-Matos, 56. Davion Nixon, 60. 54.6. I was looking at his run defense. Damian Wilson, 54.2, and Dante Jackson at 48.9. And I mentioned him on the podcast that he was the only one who's kind of stood out that really struggled on defense.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I did notice about this game compared to others, their tackling PFF grades were so much better than they have been all year. And I think that played a huge part. When they got to the player with the ball, they didn't miss tackles. That was something that I felt was really huge compared to other games. That, they let them get completions, but once they got completions, they weren't going any further. And our secondary was keeping them in front of them. And I just wanted even Dante Jackson, who had a bad coverage day, continued to make those tackles as well.
Yeah, agreed. I think that's something that Steve Wilkes has been focusing on, obviously, something that should have been focused on. It's something we mentioned in the first several weeks that we saw, it's just missed tackles, and really the last couple of years, honestly.
Yeah.
Phil Snow, a lot of good things with Phil Snow's defense. Tackling was not one of them. So it's good to see the improvement there. Dante Jackson had 10 tackles, but he
gave up 10 catches.
I think I saw he had over 100 yards against him. In the box score. So
and he gave up that huge Mike Evans almost touchdown. That
the third play of the game. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that I didn't get to talk about that game as I was deep in the woods. Didn't even see it until Monday, but that one play, I think, really set the tone for the whole game, honestly, for the Buccaneers. They just didn't seem like they could recover from that. Pretty wild.
The Bucs offense is just not that good. I mean, they have the playmakers. It's just not clicking for them. I mean, we mentioned it last week. They're not a good offense right now. I don't know if they can click too. I mean, that middle of the O-line is not great. You can rattle Brady at 45 years old now. I mean, if you nipping at his heels, he has some stress. I think you could rattle him now.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot going on personally, for sure. That's gonna mess anybody up going through what he's going through right now. There's no way that he's able to focus his normal focus amount on football. That being said, I think they'll end up getting it together, kind of second half of the season. I wouldn't panic yet if I'm a Bucs fan, or if you bet on the Bucs to win the NFC South or anything. I think they're probably still going to do that, but hey, maybe the Panthers are going to go on a run. We'll see.
Yeah,
do you want to do trivia first before the break, or do you want to go ahead and do the break?
Let's do the break, and then we'll do all the Falcons game right after this.
Okay. CBDX.com, Jerry. A wonderful website. I happen to have a little bit of CBDX.com right here. These are the gummies. These are the smoothie strawberry gummies.
Ooh, how are those? Serious question.
Freaking delicious.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, they're they're about the size of a quarter, and they taste awesome. But Delta 8, so it's the real deal. Give you a nice mellow feeling. I think it's on like a sativa type feeling, if you know what that means. But yeah, CBDX.com, they've got the gummies. They've these, I think, they just changed their gummies up. So they got two different kinds. They got these smoothie gummies, and then they have the traditional gummies, which are a little cheaper and I think maybe slightly less powerful or something. I don't know. But they've got that. They've got the vapes. They've got temporary vapes. They've got, or disposable vapes, I should say. They've got flour. 20% off if you use promo code Meow, free shipping. And we get a little bit of kickback there. So check them out. CBDX.com. They've been a really good partner to us. We've been really good customers of theirs. So I would suggest that you do the same. CBDX.com, promo code Meow, 20% off. All right.
And we are back, and it is trivia time.
Trivia time. My turn to ask you trivia this week. I got a couple of questions for you here, Jerry.
Okay, shoot.
Number one, true or false? This Sunday will be the first time that Marcus Mariota has played against the Carolina Panthers.
Ooh. I'm going to say true because he was often injured in Tennessee, and we don't play Tennessee that often, so I'm going to say true.
He was also with the Raiders.
Yeah.
Okay, so we did play them. We played the Titans and we played the Raiders, but Mariota was a backup in both games. So you are correct. True. We have not played Marcus Mariota yet. Next trivia question here. Against Tampa Bay, P.J. Walker had a passer rating of 126.5. This was the highest Carolina Panthers passer rating since Cam Newton, Kyle Allen, Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Darnold. Who had a higher passer rating more recently than 126.5? Cam Newton, Kyle Allen, Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Darnold.
I want to say Cam Newton, but I have a feeling I'm going to be wrong. Go ahead. I'm Cam Newton.
Are you saying Cam Newton?
Cam Newton, lock it in.
The correct answer is Teddy Bridgewater.
Mm-hmm.
In 2020 against New Orleans, he had a pass rating of 128.3. I'm telling you, we never should have got rid of that guy. All right, here's a gimme. Here's a bunny. What college did interim head coach Steve Wilkes attend?
Appalachian State?
Yes, that is correct. Also, Tay Hayes.
Yeah.
True or false? Carolina has not lost to Atlanta in this decade.
False?
It's true that Carolina has not lost in Atlanta in this decade. They won both road games since 2020.
All right. Okay, that was tricky. We're supposed to be doing one, maybe two trivia. You like barrage
I
me
love
there.
doing the trivia. It's fun. All right, that is over for trivia. Panthers are going to be, they are down to 4.5-point underdogs in this game. I think it opened at 6 or 6.5 point underdogs. So
it was 6.5 what I saw.
Yeah,
when they opened.
People have been betting the Panthers. They are very impressed by that win over the Bucs. Over under is 41, so even that's a little higher than we've seen in recent weeks. People are all over PJ, man. The PJ train is rolling.
Choo choo.
Well, let's maybe put a little bit of the brakes on the PJ train because we've got some injuries here, Jerry.
Oh, do we?
We've got some injuries. You need to take a glass of water first?
Yeah, Marquise Haynes, Taylor Moton, Davion Nixon, all out of practice Wednesday with illness. It was confirmed, according to Steve Wilkes, that it is not COVID, though. So that is good.
That is good.
Mike Jordan, Chuba Hubbard, both did not practice. Chuba Hubbard has an ankle injury, and Mike Jordan's on a personal day. Matt Ioannidis, defensive tackle, concussion, limited practice. Hopefully he can get through that concussion protocol. He's been very instrumental on our run defense. Dante Jackson, ankle, limited practice. Frankie Louvu, shoulder, limited practice. Aaron Mosby, hamstring, limited practice. Chenault, hamstring, limited practice. John Chandler, hamstring, limited practice. Miles Hartsfield, hamstring, limited practice. J.C. Horn, limited practice with his ribs, so he's slowly getting back there.
Mm-hmm.
And Corey Littleton, groin, limited practice. I don't know if they need to hire a yoga teacher to start helping with some of these soft tissue injuries. And I'm not saying that they're serious injuries. They hurt. But hamstring, groin, like come on, guys. I don't know if somebody needs to go like stretch them out or what, but
I mean, maybe they all need to talk to Marshall Faulk in the offseason like McCaffrey did. I mean, he seemed to transform his entire training regimen, and included a ton of stretching. So, yeah, that's a bummer. I'm going to start calling you Jerry Limited Practice Hamstring. The Falcons, a little bit of a little less of an injury list here, Jerry.
Yeah, AJ Terrell, cornerback hamstring, did not practice. Jalen Hawkins, free safety, concussion, did not practice. And D. Alford, hamstring, limited practice. AJ Terrell, pretty big name. Obviously, starting corner, had a really good season last year. Has been struggling a little bit this year, but you still got to keep him in mind as a good corner over there.
Yeah, my understanding is that neither he nor Hawkins are going to play. So it seems like that's I mean, unless something happens with Terrell. But yeah, he's he was that guy that they drafted in the first round a few years ago, and everyone was really shocked that they drafted him. But
yeah,
he's played pretty well.
Yeah, he had a bad rookie season last year. He played almost a Pro Bowl level. I don't know if he got the Pro Bowl, but he played that. And this year, he's honestly being outplayed by a 4th-round pick from last year. So it'll be interesting if he can bounce back and continue to have a good season.
Yeah. All right, well, let's look at some key matchups and just keys to the game in general for the Panthers to win this game. First of all, here, Atlanta is a very good rushing team. They're 4th in the NFL, averaging 156.9 rushing yards per game. Panthers give up 120 rushing yards per game, so this is not a recipe that the Panthers want to see here. The Falcons have a very unique, dynamic running game. They don't have a star. They do not have a star running back. They have a bunch of guys who are pretty good. They got Cordell Patterson, who, the dual threat running back, former wide receiver, former special teams ace turned running back, who's averaging almost 6 yards a carry this year. And then Tyler Allgeier averaging over 4 yards a carry. Marcus Mariota averaging almost 5 yards a carry. And then Caleb Huntley, other running back, averaging over 4 yards a carry. So all those guys averaging over 4 yards a carry, you have to deal with Mariota every down. You have to deal with Patterson and Allgeier. They kind of rotate in and out. And then Huntley plays a little bit here and there too, especially if those guys are hurt, which they often are. But yeah, Patterson, he's good. I mean, he played really well last year, and sort of very surprising. But
Arthur Smith figured out how to use him. Other teams could not figure it out, and he did.
Even Bill Belichick couldn't figure it out.
No, Arthur Smith, hats off to him. I mean, Cordell Patterson's a dangerous weapon, and they use him dangerously through the passing game and the running game. Mostly the running game, but you can always tool him around, kind of like what we wish Christian McCaffrey would have been more of.
Yeah, you wonder if Patterson would have gotten with a coach like Smith earlier in his career, because he's kind of getting up there in age now. He's been around for a while, and you always saw the talent with him, and he just never was able to put it together. But they've unlocked him, like you said. So that's going to be one of the keys. Can the Panthers contain this really dynamic, versatile running game? Because passing wise, the Falcons are nothing really to be scared of.
No. But on passing downs, you still have that threat of Mariota. Mariota's a good runner. He averages almost 5 yards a carry. I mean, and especially if they're down, they could send guys out. And if you have to keep somebody back there that can keep up with him, he's not a slow guy. He's a fast, agile runner. So,
do you foresee like Brian Burns spying him?
I could.
Like we've seen him doing against other running quarterbacks.
Yeah, like Kyler Murray, I saw him do a lot of spying with him, kind of drop it back to that line of scrimmage. it's just beneficial to the team overall because Brian Burns is a fast, physical freak that could probably track Marcus Mariota down, can stop him from gaining a big one.
Yeah, I hate to take Burns away from rushing the quarterback, which is his forte. That's what he's gonna make a whole bunch of money very soon for. But I don't know who else you do. I mean, you could spy with Chin, I guess, right?
No, Chin's on IR.
Yeah. Wow. Why did I say Chin?
You could say Luvu.
Yeah, you could, but I think Burns out of everybody that's left, Burns probably the guy.
Yeah.
Apologies. I knew Chin was on IR. I don't need any comments. I know Chin's on IR. I'm a little off tonight. All right. What's our next key to the game here, Trey?
Even though the Falcons' run defense is 5th in the league, I think it played a pivotal role last week, and we need to continue to run the ball. Even if it didn't work that great in the first half, they continued to run the ball, and they found success eventually.
Mm-hmm.
We can't let PJ Walker just 5-foot drop and throw it 70% of the time. I don't know why that was a scheme at the beginning of the season, but it should not be the scheme to win for this team.
Yeah, and I mean, we hope that Chuba is healthy. Obviously, if he is not, it's going to make it a lot tougher. They're going to have to do some different things. But with Chuba healthy, assuming he plays, then the Panthers sort of have a light version of what Atlanta does, right? They've got Foreman and Chuba, 2 running backs. PJ can run a little bit. Maybe you call some run plays for PJ. And then you've got Chenault. You've got Moore. Those guys can take it out of the backfield. Some in-around sweeps. Lots of different things you could do with them. So it'll be interesting to see if the Panthers call up some different type of run plays this game than we've seen so far this season.
Yeah.
I hope they do. Because I think our run game could also be extremely dynamic. We've got the talent for it.
I was kind of surprised we saw no running from PJ Walker last week, but then someone brought up the fact that, I mean, he's already the 4th-string quarterback. Do you want to bring in Jacob Eason as a 5th-string quarterback? Okay.
Well, so you're probably going to have Baker healthy this week. From all indications, he's going to be the backup. So that may change your game plan a little bit. You get a little more, I don't want to say risky with PJ, but you get a little more, give him more things to do.
Yeah.
I mean, PJ's smart. He gets out of bounds. He doesn't take hits when he runs.
He's not an idiot runner where he takes those unnecessary hits.
Right. But yeah, so yeah, I agree with you. I think the Panthers, they need to commit to the run, stick with it. And I think Wilkes will do it.
I do too.
I don't think he's a guy that's going to get scared off of the run early in the game if it's not working. Like you said last week, just keep doing it. Eventually, those holes are going to open up.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you're down big, then that's a different story, but keep going. Keep trying.
Keep pounding.
Yeah.
Some may say. Our next key here is going to be DJ Moore versus Darren Hall. I believe that's the corner you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, Darren Hall's having a heck of a year. And I originally put AJ Terrell, but then he kind of just mentioned the fact that he's going to be gone. And all indications is that Darren Hall's going to be facing him. Darren Hall has a 75.3 defensive grade right now against in coverage. He always plays up on wide corners. So I figured that's where he's going to be mostly put up. So.
Yeah, he's right there, right around the top 10 in PFF grade, at least, of corners this season. So he's played very well. I don't even know if Terrell is healthy, if Hall's not the guy that matches up against Moore.
I mean, he's definitely played better. Yeah. I mean, he's about the same size too, because DJ Moore's not a big, tall receiver. So he's 6 foot, 190. He's about the same size.
I was encouraged to see DJ Moore have the type of game he had last week. We talked about it with PJ's first game that he and DJ seem to have a connection, and he's always been able to get DJ the ball. Didn't really happen in his first start, but last week they seemed to rediscover that connection. So I'm hoping that continues this week. We don't have it on our list, but I'd like to see Tommy Tremble get a little more involved. He had a really nice touchdown catch last week. I'd love to see him sort of emerge as the go-to passing tight end, right?
Yeah.
Keep Thomas in there for blocking purposes, but Tremble seems to be the guy that has the better skills for receiving right now. So I'd like to see him get a little more involved.
He catches the ball better. I mean, Ian Thomas has a lot of drops. I didn't put this on my keys, but we've got to continue to convert third down and stop the other team. That was huge against Tampa Bay on both sides. Atlanta converts about 44% of the third down, so they're not a great third down team, and their defense gives up 48%. So they're pretty good. Now, meanwhile, Carolina's 25% third down conversion.
Up to 25%.
Up to 25 because they were
and last week not even that good. 4 for 12 last week. I mean, so still not great, but better than it has been, I guess. Slightly.
I mean, that seems to be again under Matt Rule. That was a constant problem. Third down on both sides of the ball were always just the down that they couldn't get or they gave up. So last week was a nice change of pace. Hopefully Matt Rule Steve Wilks can continue on that path of working that, because it does seem that there are differences in what these teams are focusing on. The tackling, like you said, the third down efficiency. And we heard that from former players like Teddy Bridgewater that they didn't practice red zone as much as other teams did.
Right. Yeah, which, that's not great. I don't know why you wouldn't practice. That's the most important part of the field. Like, you got to score touchdowns. And that's been a problem with these Panthers the last few years. So it was nice to see 3 touchdowns last week. I think you're going to need at least that this week to beat Atlanta, a team that, has the ability to score a lot of points. They also have the ability to give up a lot of points. So this, could be a fun game. It really could. I hope it is.
Yeah.
All right. What's next, Jerry?
Beer bet of the week.
Beer bet of the week. So we mentioned earlier that the Falcons are averaging almost 160 yards per game on the ground. One of our keys, keep that number lower than that. So we're going to set the over-under at 125 yards rushing for the Falcons. We feel like that's a number where they could get there, but the Panthers could still win this game.
Yeah.
And it's not crazy. So, Jerry, over under 125 rushing yards for the Falcons.
I go under.
Okay. I'm going to go over slightly. It's not a knock against the Panthers. I just think that the Falcons are just going to run the ball as much as they can, because I don't think they're going to be able to pass it very much. So
I mean, they can't pass they don't typically pass. As someone who drafted Kyle Pitts and hates himself for it because in fantasy, he is garbage. Garbage this year.
This is not the week that he explodes, because there is going to be a week that he explodes, and I hope it's not this week.
And
Drake London, by the way, having a very good game, a very good season so far.
Don't know, man. It's a different style team. I mean, it goes back to, Marcus Mariota being able to run the ball as well as he does. So.
Yeah. London, their number 1 draft pick. I'm just looking up his stats real quick. He's leading them in receiving, 26 receptions, 315 yards, a couple of touchdowns. So for a rookie, I mean, he's kind of their Zacharias as well, just having a pretty good season. So those are the guys. I mean, Kyle Pitts, like you said, has not done much this year. Only 16 receptions, 178 yards, and 1 touchdown. Only 7 total passing touchdowns for the Falcons overall. So This is a run team. We got to stop the run, like Jerry said. So, all right. Bold predictions. Jerry, I'm going to let you go first.
Oh,
I know you hate it.
I don't like this bold prediction because I don't have any. I think this game's just going to be a very low scoring game. That's going to be. If you're not a fan of the teams, you may actually hate it and change the channel. So I'm gonna say PJ Walker though will continue his ascend to the starting lineup. I say he throws for another. Screw it, 4 touchdowns. Bold prediction.
Wow. Well, that sort of goes into my bold prediction. I think that we're gonna see the Terrace Marshall breakout game.
Ooh.
I have been I don't want to say I've been a Terrace Marshall hater, but I have not been a Terrace Marshall believer. We'll say that. But I liked what I saw last week. I know it was just a couple of catches, but I like that he caught them. And I like that he was open enough to catch them. And I like that PJ threw him the ball. So I think that you're going to see at least 75 yards receiving from Terrace Marshall and a touchdown. I think that's kind of bold. Given his career so far.
Yeah.
So, and I think if that happens, I think the Panthers win this game.
Well, yeah, I do too.
Yeah. So
now let's go on to our game predictions. You can kick it off.
I think the Panthers will lose this game, unfortunately. I see us kind of crashing back down to earth a little bit after last week. I hope I'm wrong, but I think the Panthers end up dropping this one 28-14.
I'm hoping to keep that high buzz that I had last week. I was going to do 24-16, but I just claimed that PJ would have 4 touchdown passes, so therefore I have to go 28-16.
28-16.
Panthers.
No, man, Pinero just not getting any love in field goals.
He's making extra points.
Yeah, he is making extra points. That's good. Hey, as long as he makes every kick he's out there to make, then I'm happy.
Yeah, me too.
All right, let's take a quick look at the other NFC South games this week.
There's only 2 other games as we're facing the Falcons. We have the Ravens facing the Buccaneers on Thursday Night Football.
That's right, tomorrow night.
So
tonight, whenever you're listening to this.
Yeah. Love to see Baltimore beat the crap out of them.
If Baltimore wins, then the game Sunday will be a battle for first place. In the division for the Panthers.
Yeah.
So let's all root for that. Plus, the Panthers play the Ravens in a couple of weeks, so let's just keep an eye on them and see, what the
future brings.
Maybe the Bucks do something the Panthers can emulate, if they happen to win. So we'll see. What's the other game?
We have the Las Vegas Raiders at the New Orleans Saints. That'll be an interesting game. Yeah. Would it be a very exciting game to watch? No, but I think it could be very close. I mean,
yeah. I don't think the Saints have named who their starting quarterback is going to be, so we could see Jameis back, and that's always exciting.
Uncle Rico.
So yeah, should be interesting. All right, Jerry. Well, any final thoughts?
Last week felt really good, and guys, the tank. I get it. We want a premier quarterback here. But if we have a chance to win, let's win. It's so hard not to cheer during the game.
It sucks. It sucks. I mean,
especially against
a division rival, exactly. Like a season where you go 2-15 is miserable. It's miserable. I understand that the reward at the end might be worth it down the road. But in the moment, it sucks. It's hard. It's hard to watch. It's hard to live through. It's hard to do these podcasts.
And I want to bring up a point. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, they weren't the first quarterback pick. They weren't the, top 2 picks, 5 picks. I mean, they were, I don't know where Josh Allen exactly was picked. Wasn't he
think he was 10th, I believe.
So, yeah, so because I know Mahomes was later and Deshaun Watson was later. I mean, you can grab a franchise guy a little bit later, maybe not be the first guy taken. So if we can, win a few games, make this fun. I mean, let's be honest. Those first 5-6 weeks of offense was one of the worst offensive sets of football I've ever watched. I was so excited to watch PJ actually move the ball down the field. I almost said Washington, the basketball player, but Walker.
PJ Washington moving the ball down the court. Josh Allen, the 7th pick, by the way.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, Justin Herbert, 6th pick. He was the 3rd quarterback taken. Like this draft is supposed to be 5 QBs deep at the top, and all of them pretty close together. So, you could get a Mac Jones at 15. Tight, maybe not Mac Jones. He's not been doing great this year, but he did well in his rookie season. I think he's okay. So, yeah, you could get your guy. It's not, if you don't get the number 1 pick, don't get CJ Stroud, there's still chances. Plus, the Panthers have some extra draft picks now. They can move up if they had to. We're only week 8, right? We're not even halfway through the season.
Yeah.
Let's keep rooting for them to win. Maybe they shock us. I mean, imagine making the playoffs after starting 1-5. That's an excellent story.
Yeah. And then you have draft capital, like you said, to move up to get a quarterback. It's a deep quarterback class.
Right.
So, I don't know. I was just kind of maybe because I was having so much fun with beating the brakes off the Bucks that people were going, oh, what are they doing? I'm like, they're winning. I mean, the players and coaches are going to try to win no matter what.
Look, like week 15, week 16, if you're already out of the playoffs, and you are right there in the mix for one of those top 3 picks or something, sure, I get it. But week 7, which was last week, root for your team to win. Anything can happen. This NFC South is not good, right? This is a winnable division. We are 1 game out right now, and by the end of this weekend, we could be tied for first. Very easily, we could be tied for first.
With the wins on all 3 of the division teams.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
and the softer part of our schedule is coming. Like we still have a few tough weeks, but after that, we've got very winnable games. So it ain't over yet, guys. It's not over yet.
It's not over yet. I want to cheer for winning. I want to cheer for fun, not losing.
I agree. I'm going to be cheering for them to win this week.
Yeah.
If we lose this week, we'll see.
All right. We want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. And if you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on our show. Please like and subscribe on YouTube.
We'll be back on Sunday afternoon. Finally, I get to do a recap that's not at 9 o'clock at night.
That was nice.
Yeah. We'll be back to talk the game. Hopefully a Panthers victory. And until then, everybody stay safe out there and keep pounding.